Hi, I'm Principal Lisa Nash, and you are watching FCS TV.
I've always had an interest in technology, and I told myself the second I got into high school I'd take a class where I could explore new fields of it.
Ever since I was young, I've always had a passion for computers.
You can do a lot with computer science, especially today in society.
You can build any app that you want. You just have to set your mind to it and put in the work.
And I've just always been fascinated with how computers work, and I've always just considered going to them as a field.
So my dad is into computer programming, so I've grown up with some basic practice.
Well, none of my parents were in the technology field. I was playing a game one day and I got interested because I was just wondering, like, how does this work? Like, how do people do it?
Once you learn computer science, there are an unlimited number of possibilities of what you can do with that knowledge.
Computers are just everything now. Like, everything is getting upgraded to technology. Cars are becoming self-driving cars through programming and other things. Just so many career fields, and it's just worth it.
Watch Fulton County school students achieve using technology on InTech.
Well, I am from a very small town, Eufaula, Alabama. Most people know it by, going to Panama City, going down 85 South. But I was raised by my grandmother. I say I'm her 8th child because she had 7 children and I was the first grandchild. And I come from a cycle of generational poverty. My grandmother had her first child at 15. My mother had me at 14, and I continued that cycle and had a child at 15 as well. But growing up, we lived in projects. The boys slept in one room, the girls slept in another room. I slept in the bed with my grandmother until I was 12 years old because there was enough room in the house for me to have a place to sleep. After becoming a teen mom, my grandmother said, I've raised my children, I raised my grandchildren, I'm not going to raise my great-grandchildren. And so needless to say, she kicked me out. And so I ended up moving to Atlanta to live with my mother. And that's how I ended up at McLaren High School as a student. Because I was able to transition here because they had a child care center here at the school, and was introduced to what would soon become the school that I would be the principal at. So it's been an awesome journey. Well, I have to admit, I am a workaholic. We're open from 8 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock at night and on Saturdays. So what I do in my spare time, I love on children and help them graduate. But what do I enjoy doing? I love to read. I enjoy traveling, and I enjoy spending time with my family. So when I came to McLaren, of course, it was like two worlds colliding. Me being a teen mom and trying to figure out and navigate how to be a teenager, how to be a mother, and how to be a student all at the same time. So my first introduction to goal setting was being a student here at McLaren. The principal got up my first day and said a student can graduate from McLaren in 2 years with 0 credits. So I was a junior at the time, so I said, guess what, I can graduate in a year. So I began to develop my path and began to set up how many classes I would need to take, how long I could stay in each class in order to graduate. And so soon I was introduced to a dream killer. And I went to the school counselor and I said, guess what? I think I'm gonna be able to pull it off. I think I'm gonna be able to graduate in a year. She said it's never been done before. So she said, you can go ahead and try, but the principal get up every year and say the same thing and no student has ever done it. So I kind of got defeated. I began to kind of take the path that my students kind of take, and I began to skip school. One day in me skipping school, my boyfriend at the time told me he didn't want a dummy. And he said, if we want to have any type of future together, then I need to graduate from high school. And so from that day forward, I went to school every day, and I ended up graduating a year early.
With the Fulton County Schools mobile app, your school district comes alive at the touch of a button. It allows you to easily connect to the Learning and Parent portal or navigate through current news and events. You can easily check out the latest updates with social media and quickly retrieve contact information for schools. You can also view a comprehensive calendar of events, get lunch schedules for your school, connect with the superintendent, and more. It's your school district available at your fingertips.
So fast forward, I graduated from high school, excited about my next step, went to college, and I said, I want to be a counselor. I want to help people that are, like me, students that kind of, struggled and had a lot of family challenges and things of that nature. So when I got to college, the counselor said, a degree in psychology will get me a job at McDonald's. So she said, you need to get a real degree that you can help take care of your son. So I was totally confused. I ended up with 8 degrees as a result of this whole process of trying to figure out what I wanted to do. My first degree was in medical assisting, and I was working at a doctor's office, and I met an attorney who came and asked me if I could know how to read medical records. And once I told him I did, he said, I will pay you more money if you can come work for me, because he was a criminal defense attorney and a personal injury attorney. So I went to work for him, and he sent me back to school to become a paralegal. And in my work with him, we were doing, having fabulous success, winning cases and things of that nature. So he decided that he wanted to send me to law school. So I completed my bachelor's degree. I took the LSAT on my way to law school. And we were in a case, we were working on a death penalty case. And in that case, we were representing a student that was 16 years old that was on trial for murder. And the student had wrote a confession, and in the confession he wrote lowercase I S-O-T, lowercase H-E-S-O-T, lowercase I-R-A-N, no punctuation, I sighed, he sighed, I ran. And as I was sitting in the courtroom, getting ready to start applying to law schools, I said, I'm living somebody else's dream. I want to make a difference in the lives of kids before they get to the courtroom. And so at that point, I decided I wanted to go back to school and get my degree in counseling psychology. So I got a master's in counseling psychology and a doctorate in counseling psychology. So I started my career off working in a private school because I was able to take my children to school with me. But once I received my doctorate, I said, you know what? The students at the private school, they will be okay whether I'm there or not. I want to go to a place with the most need, where I can make a difference in the lives of kids who people feel like are not going to make it.
I am Ava Deborah, Assistant Principal at Banneker High School, and you're watching FCS TV.
Fulton County School students have options for their road to success. They can go down the college readiness road or the career readiness road. Whether they choose college or career, success is the goal. Tune in to Road to Success to get a bird's eye view of our students' journey.
So I had an opportunity to interview at Atlanta Public Schools. And so driving into my interview, there is a prison that was on the way, on the left-hand side. I never forget it, as I'm driving down to my interview, and I saw that prison. I said, you know what? This is the place that I need to work, because my students will have to walk past this prison every day to go to school, and I want to make sure that they get into that right lineup and not the lineup that's going to take them to this prison. So I began my career in public education in Atlanta Public Schools, and then had an opportunity to do a transformation initiative at Carver High School, and then moved on to Crim High School, which is a non-traditional school similar to McLaren. And because of the great work we were able to do at those schools, the Georgia Department of Education allowed me to do some workshops on what does it mean to go around and transform low-performing schools. And in the audience, unbeknownst to me, was a superintendent at one of my presentations from Fulton, and told me that there was a school in Fulton that needed a transformation, and that school was McLaren. And so that totally transformed my life, that I had an opportunity to go back and make a difference in the lives of kids who walked down the same halls that I did. When I actually arrived here almost 5 years ago now, it was a bittersweet arrival back. It was bittersweet for me because when I came back, I cried because the school was the same as it was when I was a student 20 years ago. I cried because the same low expectations it was for students was still forever present at the school. And so I came with a lot of passion, a lot of, I really felt like I had a vested interest in the success of this school. I felt like this was my legacy, my children, my great-grandchildren, my great-great-grandchildren. I'm in a rocking chair rocking. I'll be able to talk about McLaren. And so for me, I knew that we had to do something different. And the change came when the first year our data flatlined. I had all these tools that worked on these transformations, and we came with a lot of ideas of what it took to transform the schools. But what I found was after the first year when our data flatlined, we had to regroup, we had to look at the data and really and truly to realize that we had a school that focused on adults and not a school that focused on the needs of kids. And that became present when we received our first list of dropouts for that first year. The year before I came to McLaren, we had a 19% graduation rate. And so we went away and went on a retreat. At that point, our graduation rate the first year was like 20-25%. And so that meant that 75% of our students were not graduating. And so I had a group, and they were all excited about going on this retreat. We were going to Florida. And so I had a list of our graduates, our dropouts. And I went through the list of all and called them out name by name. So we had about 10 people that was on this retreat. And what was so common was that, guess what? Nobody knew these students. They didn't know the students. They didn't know their situations. They didn't know anything about them. Counselors, social worker, teachers, all these different people from all these different roles in the school. And so what I said to the team at that point in Orlando, Florida, I said, guess what? This is educational malpractice. This is educational neglect, and we all need to be fired, including me. Because as an educator, if we can't look a parent in the face and say we did everything in our power to save your child, because we know what a dropout does to the life expectancy of the child. So if we can't say that, then we don't deserve our jobs, we don't deserve our paychecks.
I'm Principal Kendra Smith, and you're watching FCS TV.
Fulton County Schools has received a new technology designation that recognizes its national leadership in student privacy protection and data security. Awarded by the Consortium for School Networking, the Trusted Learning Environment seal identifies school systems that demonstrate commitment to ensuring the privacy and security of student data. Only 7 school systems nationwide received the TLE seal during its inaugural year. Fulton County Schools, where students come first.
So we changed our school from being a school that's centered around what adults needed and what adults wanted to a school that focused on what students needed and what students wanted to be successful. And so we started out by changing our schedule. We're open from 8 o'clock in the morning to 6 o'clock at night and on Saturdays. Students come to school when it's convenient for them, kind of like a college campus. Students can take 1 class per day or 7 classes per day, depends on their need. They come to school when it's convenient for them. So our students that are head of household, they may work from 11 to 7 and come to school at 11, 12, 1 o'clock. Depends on what classes they need to graduate, and what's convenient for them. They may have a lot going on socially and family oriented, so taking a full load of classes may not be in their best interest. We provide wraparound services. We cater to the whole child to make sure that we're able to provide them with everything that they need to be successful, to remove any barrier that it takes that keeps them from being successful. We have a mental health therapist that's here to have anger management classes, that has individual family therapy. We have a full service child care center here. We have a doctor that comes in to provide free medical checkups for students, sick visits for our students, a dentist that provides dental services for our students. Anything that you can name. We have a backpack program for our homeless students to make sure they have food. Anything that we know there is a barrier for our students being successful, we have developed a community collaboration to make sure we're able to provide every need, to make sure that every child gets what they need to be successful. Well, we started out because we were considered one of the lowest performing schools in the state of Georgia. So we started out with a grant called the School Improvement Grant. So for the first 3 years that I was here, we were able to have funding for the school improvement through the school improvement grant to help fund some of our programs. Along the way, we began to develop these different partnerships, and so Archie, the Atlanta Regional Commission for Healthy Initiatives, partnered with our school, and we began to develop even more partners and begin to have those community conversations about the fact that our grant funding was coming to an end. And so partners like the United Way, partners like Families Health Centers of Georgia, different partners just came together to make sure that we're able to provide these services for our students. Odyssey provides our counseling services. So we've been able to leverage our partnerships to be able to kind of continue with our funding. Our faith-based community. When I got here, we had 5 community partners. Now we have over 60 community partners that come together and support our school to make sure that we're able to meet the needs of kids. And because of these partnerships, we went from a 19% graduation rate to a 75% graduation rate in 4 years.
Hi, I'm Principal Lisa Nash, and you are watching FCS TV.
There's something interesting happening at Cambridge High School. A new group of enrollees are now on campus, including birds, cats, rabbits, and more. Cambridge's new veterinarian program provides students a high-quality career pathway in the CTAE program. Whether animals are pets, livestock, or working animals, they matter to society, and the new program at Cambridge is an excellent pathway for students to become veterinarian professionals. Learn more by watching Leadership Matters, where Principal Ed Spurka talks about the program.
I never in a million years ever thought that I would be a principal. But along my journey, being a part of the different transformation initiatives that I was a part of, what really and truly made me to decide that I wanted to be a principal was one simple fact. I wanted to be the deciding factor that when everybody else says that a child would not graduate, everybody else had given up on a child, that I could say, guess what? That child will and they shall graduate. We will do everything in our power to make sure that happens. And so that's the only reason that I ever wanted to be a school leader, and that was to make sure that every child that I come in contact with had an opportunity to be successful, and that they had that one caring adult in their life that could make a difference and make sure that they're successful in life. Everybody plays a role in the success of the school. I believe that I'm a servant leader. When I tell you we wrap around these kids and provide a circle of support, that's what it is. I mean, my bookkeeper is my dance teacher. She provides dance classes for my students. My custodian is the coach of a basketball team. My front desk clerk does a drama club at the school. So everybody steps outside of themselves and gives of themselves to make sure that we're able to meet the whole child. So we all serve, and we're all in this together. And if it wasn't for them, we would not be where we are today. I have the best staff in the world. I mean, they come together, we wrap around the kids, we do what we need to do, and and it's because of them that I have received this honor of being the principal of the year, because I have an awesome staff that have really supported me, and they have really wrapped around and really invested in my vision for the school to kind of move our agenda forward. And I'm just really, really honored and privileged to work with such a great team. You know, I say every day is a great day at McLaren. I guess the best part for me is graduation day, because every child that comes to the doors of McLaren, they come to us 1 to 2 grade levels behind academically. We have to accelerate, we have to remediate the kids. They come to us with so many social and emotional issues, come to us with so many learning gaps. So really and truly, you know, when they come to us, come to us without hope. And a lot of them have experienced so much failure that they don't even believe themselves that they're going to graduate. For the most part, they come to us because they're mandated by the courts to be here. They're mandated, you know, maybe by their parents to come, and therefore they don't come excited about transitioning and actually being in school. So when they go from day one coming to McLaren, and what we tell them when we have our big believe ceremony, where they actually get an opportunity to write down any barriers that has held them back and plant seeds for their future and sign that pledge to graduate. And to go from that point, that day one, and to see those same babies walk across that stage and graduate when so many people felt like they wouldn't. That is the best part of my job. To have an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of those babies means the world to me.
What I want to tell all the girls out there is that computer science is for you, no matter what you may think beforehand. If you are creative or even just interested in different aspects of technology and design, I really, really urge you to give computer science a chance. There are so many opportunities, especially for girls in the world today, for internships and jobs and college. And honestly, for you right now, the possibilities are endless for you to find your potential. And it's not as difficult as you may think it is. Really, there is so much out there to help you and to help you learn. They're not just going to throw you in by yourself and have you just figure it out on your own. There's so much support for you, and there's so many amazing opportunities to create incredible projects. Like right now, I'm creating my own mobile app, and I'm learning to do that through different resources that have been given to me. And so I'm able to be creative and express my artistic abilities through computer science. So the possibilities are endless for you, and I really urge you to give it a chance.
Watch Fulton County School students achieve using technology on InTech.
What happens is at McLaren, we are very unique because what students complete in 18 weeks at a traditional school, they complete in 9 weeks, because we have an accelerated curriculum. So every 9 weeks is a semester for us. So students have to come to us, and they have to really, like attendance is so very important here, because we have to accelerate them and remediate them at the same time. Because our ultimate goal is they have to complete the same number of credits as they would have at a traditional school in order to reach their high school diploma. We have a graduation coach that focuses on post-secondary options. So our major focus is not only to graduate kids with a high school diploma, but also get them ready to pursue their paths of choice. So we're focused on, getting them in 2-year, 4-year universities, getting them involved in, the trade industry, whatever, the military, whatever their paths for their lives are. We want to make sure we're guiding them to make sure they're able to reach those goals. I believe that I'm a turnaround leader, and what I love to do is I like to go into schools that are low performing and help them turn around. And I'm always rooting for the underdog, so that's what I love to do. But in the next 5 years, I'm very interested in actually, becoming a director over alternative education, so I can work with principals on going into how to turn around low performing schools, or an area superintendent, and eventually one day I want to be a superintendent. Well, the advice that I would give is really, number one, know who you are, okay? Because you have to have a clear understanding of who you are as a person in order for you to have a clear understanding of where you want your school to go. You've got to understand that your staff has to trust you. So you've got to love your staff, love your students, love your job. And the day that you stop loving what you do is the day you need to get out. Because, those students, every day we have a wonderful opportunity to make a difference in the lives of kids. We have the best job in the world. So every day you have to come in with that mindset of transforming those lives of those babies. And so you have to go in knowing who you are, knowing your vision and mission that you want to accomplish with your students, and being able to love on your staff and to make sure that they know that you have their back no matter what, and you'll get in the trenches with them to do the work.